That's the same feeling you get when you're pleasured. It just feels good. It's another way of saying, oh, more of that. Touch me. Don't stop. You know? Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jane Lawrence, aka Juicy Jane, and I come with a lot of juice. Now, in today's class, I will be telling you what your bedroom noises really mean. Plus, why being authentic in your moaning making can make sex even hotter. So stick around if you would like to find out, okay? Now, welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. Now, you must know that the sounds that people make while having sex are as different as, the people themselves. So we don't all have to sound the same when we moan. We don't. We honestly do not. And regardless of all of the rom-coms, the very fake performative films that we've seen, I would urge you not to feel too self-conscious about your sex moaning, or even the lack of it, okay? You don't need to. Not everyone is expected to moan. All right, let me break it down a little bit so that you can understand what I'm saying. Let me break it down as to why some people are sex moaners and others are not. Plus why I think that unlocking your authentic sex noises might just be the key to better sex. All right? So even if you have an animalistic type of moaning, unlock it. So why do people moan a lot during sex? Now, think about the sigh you release after you finally gotten yourself to the bathroom. Just immediately you get back from, a long road trip. Like the kind of sound. It's not something you intentionally do. It's just, it naturally just comes out of you because you're relieved. Like something just left you. That's the same feeling you get when you're pleasured. So making sound is, natural. It's a natural thing. So basically, sometimes you moan because it just feels effing good. Whether it's a sexual moan or otherwise, it just feels good. It feels damn right good. Another possibility is that you're moaning during sex to communicate. It's actually a communication tool because moaning allows you to guide your partner in the right direction without using words. It's another way of saying, oh, more of that. Touch me. Oh, touch me there. Don't stop. But on the flip side of things, I've got to say that research suggests that sometimes sex noises aren't about expressing your own pleasure, your own sexual pleasure, but instead it's about pleasuring your own partner. The sounds can just take them and get them off. For instance, I had to study one small 2010 research on heterosexual couples that was published in some journal archives of sexual behavior, if I'm not mistaken. It found out that women are the most loudest right before their male partners climaxes. And these researchers said that it indicates that at least some women are fake moaning in order to help their partners climax. So this now brings us to this question. Is it really a bad thing for a woman to fake moan? In some cases, yes. Because over 2/3 of the women in that study report fake moaning because they were just simply uncomfortable or plain right bored by the sex. Meaning that rather than just communicating to their partner either how the sex could be more pleasurable to them or that they wanted to stop, they just try to make sex go a lot more faster by fake moaning. So with that being said, fake moaning during sex isn't always a bad thing. And I would tell you why. Because doing things that make your partner feel good can make you feel good too. So if fake moaning brings your partner pleasure, and that brings you pleasure as well, it's a win-win situation. You know what I mean? I think it's not necessarily as self-satisfying as it seems at face value, especially if you've already orgasmed yourself and you're just making that moaning sounds because the auditory stimulus help your partner get there. Because basically doing things to aid your partner's pleasure is not inherently a bad thing. That's what I think personally. In fact, it may suggest that you and your partner excel at communicating what you both need to do to receive pleasure. But that's not saying I'm encouraging women to fake moan, right? It's still okay if you're not a moaner. And that being said, here is why some people don't moan at all. But first, let's be very clear that louder sex isn't necessarily better sex. Some people are just naturally quieter during sex, and that's true even if they're having the best sex of their lives. You know what I mean? They're just quiet. These type of people, they internalize what they're feeling, the intensity, the sensation. They internalize it. They just don't want to miss out on what they feel. So if you're naturally being the key word here, on the quieter side during sex, fear not. Your sex is not inherently less pleasurable than your louder counterparts, all right? Likewise, if your partner doesn't make a commotion during sex, that doesn't mean they aren't enjoying themselves. Do you get what I mean? Even though that we know that moaning is one way to communicate during sex, it's not just the only way. You can use non-auditory cues like eye contact, using your hands to push your partner or to pull your partner closer. And you can use auditory clues like speaking or breathing heavily. You know what I mean? These can even be much more instructive, much more sexier than the throaty moans or groans. So your partner may not be moaning because they're using other communication devices instead of the yes. If that works for you, that's okay. If that's what you want, that's fine. However, in some cases, people aren't moaning because they're stopping themselves from moaning. Many people tend to soften their groanings into, quiet moans or no sound at all. You get? And this may be the reason. Maybe because they've gotten used to zipping up their lips after years of masturbating, especially when they're in a very full house, so they keep quiet while pleasuring themselves so that they don't get heard. Or maybe they live in an apartment that is not soundproof, so that they just want to stifle their moanings, or they just want to stifle their sound so that other people will not hear them. But in some cases, it could be because, you've been conditioned to think that you're supposed to be quiet in the bedroom, especially for the women, or especially for the men who don't moan because they feel like it's too bitchy for you to moan, as a man. Now, here's the problem. The breath holding and altering that comes with being quiet can impact on the blood flow and oxygenation of muscles, which, ultimately impedes orgasmic response. So basically, blood flow to the genitals, specifically the pelvic floor muscle, is an indication or is an essential part of arousal in the fact that it's what allows the vagina to self-lubricate. So if you're holding your breath or you're stifling sex moans, you could be hindering your own pleasure. Let it out, let loose, moan, however ugly it sounds. Ultimately, whether you're naturally a big-time moaner or a quiet QT when you're doing it, just know that making sounds is a natural reaction to pleasure, and not making any sound as a natural reaction to pleasure is also natural. The key word here is naturally. So for the record, everything in your sex life will be much more better if you let it happen. If you let it happen naturally. Your natural sounds, or the lack of it, or the lack of your sounds, are still an essential part of your sexual response. So if you're censoring them or faking them and dedicating energy to perform quietness or loudness in your bed, your pleasure or your orgasm will be affected either way. I would encourage you, let it loose. If you're a moaner, moan. Don't care about the next person out there, all right? But still be considerate if you have neighbors out there. If you're not a moaner, all good. All right, till next time, subscribe. Goodbye. watch my ads every time it comes on, all right?